it's been an absolutely hectic month, week for you, craziness. And I'm sure it's always crazy, but especially through the lens of crypto and your investments. Right now, what's going on in your mind? What's the last month been like?
It doesn't change my investment thesis about the asset class at all. Nothing that has happened with the bankruptcies of all these firms, the allegations of fraud, all this stuff, it doesn't change the promise of what crypto can be for the economy. And so it does change my investment thesis slightly in this sense. I've noticed during the volatility that you don't need to own more than 6 or 7 positions to get the 99% of the volatility of the market. So I'm going to reduce the number of names that we own in our portfolio. We're doing the analysis now, but what this means, I'm not the only institutional investor doing this. This is probably the demise of 9,000 tokens over the next 3 years, because the proverbial, and excuse my French when I say this, shitcoin is worthless. If it has no utility, it has no apps built on it, if it has no merit, there's no need to own it. And there's no economic value. And so that does not mean that crypto itself and blockchain itself doesn't have economic value. It does, but the extreme euphoria has come to an end of this nascent industry, and it will self-correct. And the way I see it self-correcting is a massive reduction in the number of tokens.
That's completely fair. Right now, obviously, the economy is taking a little bit of a hit, decisions made by the Fed, so clearly there were bubbles and things are kind of coming down to their core assets. The main, as you're saying, you invest in almost like the blue chip equivalent, but within the crypto industry. Obviously, it wasn't made any better by Sam Bankman-Fried, and I've been listening to not only you on the panel there, but also speeches, and I do appreciate how you're saying, before we have all the evidence, let's not make judgments, because that could be very, very bad. On that note, though, and I'm not going to say, because obviously legally we don't want to say fraud or anything like that, it seems like you're kind of the camp of, let's just wait, let's see how all the dust settles. What would be your response, though, to the generic, populist, concern with all of this? Like, obviously there's a lot of people who are angry. You yourself, right now, you're wondering where your money is, and you're one of many other people trying to figure out what's going on. So I know you've had recent discussions where you're like, okay, I would invest in it again, and even now, I really liked your opinion on, with entrepreneurs, hey, just because you fail once, that doesn't mean you're always gonna fail. But what would you say to the people who are listening to this, who are just like a lot of my money is gone right now? What do I do?
You wait. You wait for the facts. Being mad, being angry, making accusations has no merit and any value. It might make you feel better. It's not going to get your money back. There's enough of us in this situation, and not just FTX. There's plenty of other platforms that have gone bankrupt. There's a process to pursue and reclaim assets. And so, I wish I wasn't involved in this, obviously, but I am. And as an investor, and I've got a long track record of doing this, I don't let people pay a zero price for defrauding me. That doesn't happen. It's part of my Lebanese-Irish heritage. There's a cost to doing that. Okay. But I use the process of law. I don't know anything about this situation yet. All these accusations, all of this stuff, there isn't a single fact yet that I can prove, that anybody can prove to me, because all the trading records are now somewhere on a server that I don't know where they are, and so we need to get those. If it's true that someone was nefarious with my money, I'll find out where it is and I'll go get it. That's what I'm going to do. And that's what I've done before, and that's just the way I am, and I'm very transparent about it. But I don't know that yet. And so my whole attitude, and I've said this countless times for everybody, anybody, I presume you're innocent until you're proven guilty. That is how I was brought up. And that is the way I'm going to treat this situation, like any other. However, if it turns out that that's not the case, well, let's just see what happens. That's the way I look at it.
One final question. Going off of that, from the start of November until now, I'm not sure if you've had any communication with Sam Bankman-Fried, his parents, the company, anything like that. You're thinking about this in a very logical, legal, financial businessman way. And I don't think you've been asked this, but with the whole situation, on an emotional level, do you harbor any anger about seeing how this is all played out?
I'm angry at myself, all right? Just like all of the institutions that got involved in this, I'm very fortunate that I never put any of my partner's money into this. None of the LPs that I'm a fiduciary for, in any of the funds that we're going to manage. And the reason I did that was I felt conflicted as a paid spokesperson. That I could, and I'll tell you, the one asset that they were really, when the U.S. issued equity for FTX US, I got countless calls from people that wanted to invest in that deal. The U.S. FTX. 18 months ago, that was the hottest deal on the street. And I said, no, I can't do it. I can't, I'm going to invest in it, but I can't bring you into this because I'll be completely conflicted. You have to think of yourself as a fiduciary. You got to be compliant first. You can't operate outside of the law or break any of the rules. Now today, the only person I can point to that I'm angry at is me. I screwed up. I made a bad investment. I don't get it right all the time, but I don't owe anybody anything. And so it's on me. And you know, it won't be my last mistake. I'm very fortunate. I make more good investments than bad ones. So this won't change what I do tomorrow morning. This won't change my investment in crypto and my investment in entrepreneurs. None of that's going to change. However, this chapter is not even chapter one for me on this deal. It's not even chapter one. I'm just reading the cover of the book right now. So I've got a lot of work ahead of me here, and I will allocate some of my time and I will put some resources into it. I bet you in 3 years I'll know exactly what happened. And let the chips fall where they may. But let the chips fall where they may. And you're going to. This is not just an economic collapse. This is a human story. This is a human story of massive magnitude. I mean, you think about it. $42 billion of value was erased in a Saturday afternoon. That's a lot of money.
Amazing. Truly, one of the most insane financial downfalls of the current era.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time,
you
and
got
honestly, for you and the other creditors and people involved with FTX, it's going to take some time, but I hope when the dust settles, most people are made whole. But I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Highly unlikely, but they'll get something back. That's probably it.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.